Thank you, everybody, for coming to my session. There are lots of other things you'd be going to, and I really appreciate you spending your time here with me. This is going to be pretty fun, I hope. My masterclass is entitled Building Customer Identity Services with an API-First Development Mindset. Okay, that's what management chose. I think it's maybe, if you want to improve this slide a little bit, Ping Identity Masterclass, your app doesn't have user account features, but it should. So we're going to talk about how we can do this. My name is Zach Collier. I'm a product manager at Ping Identity. I work on the Ping One for Customers product. So I know you're seeing me up here, product manager, going to be given all of this marketing spiel. Well, I was an engineer for 15 years. I'm a legit nerd, so I want to prove to all of you that I am actually an actual nerd that you can trust. Here's how we're going to do this. Well, okay, so first of all, I guess the fact that my exhibits are 0 indexed, that should be a clue. But my wife calls me nerd. Okay, so as in, hey nerd, will you get me a Coke? Or, nerd, I love you, but I don't think I can listen to anything else about the iOS 13 beta. She's very patient with me. Okay, so exhibit number 1, this is my video game shelf. Do we have any video gamers? And there we go, some gamers in the room. Okay, we have some classics like the 1977 6-switch Atari 2600. We also have the Japanese Super Famicom, the Super Nintendo over there, and the Japanese 8-bit Nintendo disk drive. So that's legit right there. The next exhibit.
Good nerd status has been formally approved.
Oh yeah, oh, I already got it. Well, I have a few more slides. Can I just do these real quick? I have to earn the nerd cred from the rest of the room. Here, exhibit number 2. This is my 1999 Toyota Tacoma pickup. I don't have this anymore, but I did a while ago. And if you see right there on the door handle, if we zoom in, I had a slide to unlock. This doesn't play as well now that we've moved on, but kids, ask your parents how they had to unlock their iPhones. It looked more like this. Okay, Nerd Cred Exhibit 3, I think we've all seen the phenomenon of the iPhone or Android phone in the pocket leaving the outline. I even had a case where it was tearing through and almost breaking through the outside. So what I have done, I want to talk about my jeans. These are the jeans that I am wearing right now. These are not Levi's or some fancy brand. These are Wranglers. I'm from Texas. And, but as your mom always said, it's what's on the inside that counts. So if we look inside, you may notice the pocket that holds my phone. I have reinforced this with additional denim, okay, and sewed it on very securely, so you can barely even see. iPhone is right in there, no problem at all. So this is a good hack. I was pretty proud of myself, thinking it was maybe a little bit cool because it had to do with an iPhone, but what I realized is all it really is the iPhone age pocket protector. So there, that's the end of my nerd cred. Let's get to some actual content that you're here for. I want to talk about helping out somebody who has a great app. They've built this app, maybe something like this that I've created for this demo. I call this Ping Pics. It's a website with a really novel idea. You upload your photos and it saves them for you. Okay, a 1990s app idea deserves a 1990s design, so that's what I've done there as well. We'll look at this live here. But you know, somebody may have spent a lot of time working on their app. All the features that really matter to them, they know they need to have users logging in, but they haven't really looked at that. So if somebody goes to the app right here, you're going to notice you're not currently authenticated. So that's going to be a problem, right? Because we haven't built that yet. This is typical developer focus. So what you have here is this awesome app. You're hoping you can launch it soon, but you have a really important feature that's missing, which is that right there. No authentication, no user account stuff in your app. This is the elephant in the room that you've been ignoring. I mean, in fact, let's have the elephant point at it. This is a really big problem. So just like any good app, this is built well. You know, this has a back end where it stores photos and things. It delivers the description of all of that data in JSON. No JSON haters here. I made it simple so it would fit on the slide here. But it does validate. So here's a couple different users and their photos that they might have in the system. And then there's just a little bit of code that goes through and displays those things on the screen. Loops through, gets the JSON, gets all of the photos, and spits them out as part of this application. So simple code, we've all seen this, but the real problem here is this part at the top. Logged in user equals, it's hard-coded to my username because I haven't worked on this authentication stuff yet myself. So, and I have this glaring to do right up at the top. You know, need to populate this var with some username from some awesome IAM system. So we need something. Fortunately, Ping Identity is to the rescue. It has just what you need. Okay, and this is a particular product called Ping One for customers. You'll hear a lot about it at other sessions this week. But what this is a framework that allows you as the app developer, you as the engineer, to put identity and access management into your application pretty easily to serve your customers, the people logging into your website or your mobile app. That's what this is about. And it includes, for you, as convenience, lots of things that you don't have to think about. You haven't wanted to think about them up until now, and you don't have to think about them anymore. Things like reliability. You know, this is Ping Identity here, okay? So this is building on a foundation of more than a decade of doing precisely this kind of stuff on premises, taking it up into the cloud. So we have exactly the experience and exactly the battle scars to know how to build something like this. Okay, privacy is important, of course, to your users. Using this, they are getting that. You're providing that service to them. GDPR, really, that's all you got? No problem at all. Protection. So we're going to make sure that we are protecting their information. You don't want to do that as a developer. This is dicey stuff. You're going to hand this off to somebody like Ping Identity and Ping One for customers. So these three things, think of this as something that we would be helping you give as a gift to your customers. Okay? So how do we do this stuff? Let's get some Ping One for customers code, some of our sample code that we provide on our GitHub site. And I'll show you how to get to that a little bit later. One of our samples that we're going to look at today includes a very simple setup. Not much to do. There's not much to do at all. You just have this little bit in this JavaScript code that you have to configure to connect it to your system, your Ping One for Customers account and your Ping One for Customers environment. You put in your environment ID, your client ID, and your redirect URI, like where your app is living, you know, the website address of that, where it goes after a login happens. Okay, so we're going to look at how to do that. Configure, this looks something like this. You know, some specific code that we're going to see how to get. We pull that out, we paste that in there, and configure the redirect URI for wherever that's going to be living, and then you can try it out. So let's do this. Let's see if I can do the magic here that I need to. Quit that guy. Okay, so the way that we would do this, first of all, I guess let's just look at this application here. This is the PingPix app that I was talking about. Okay, so it's a regular old web application. You know, we've done a little bit of marketing stuff. No actual features living here. Then what we have over here is our Ping One for Customers website. And we can log into our Ping One for Customers admin console. And I'll show you later all how you can get this on your free trial. So we jump in here. We have to do a couple of different things to connect to an application. We need to make a connection, which is how we tie your application code to the Ping One for Customers backend. In this case, we're going to make a single-page app, because that's what this is. We're going to call this just IDV demo. No problem. Save this. I know that this is going to be running on my local web server on my Mac at localhost. And I put the code that I downloaded from GitHub into a directory called Ping. Piece of cake. We'll save this and continue. Now we need to add a few scopes to this. For the purposes here, we can just add the default OpenID scopes. Nothing fancy. And we're going to save this. So there we go. This application instance is created. We do have to enable it by flipping this little switch. And there we go. It's up and running. So now let's go look at some of this code that I downloaded. Right here, this is the index.html of the code that I was just showing you on the screen. Let's make this a little bigger. Okay, and then also part of this is our auth.js file. This is a little library of convenience functions to help you connect to our backend APIs. Okay, no big deal. We're not going to look at that right now. We'll get more detail in later. And I'm just going to scroll down to the bottom where we need to configure this. So this is familiar. We just saw this on that slide a little bit ago. So we need to retrieve an environment ID, a client ID, and set our redirect URI. So that's all over here in our admin console. Our environment ID under settings is right here. So let's just copy this guy. Switch over. And we're going to paste it into here. We need our client ID. So this app that we just created, our IDV demo, if we expand the details, we can see our client ID is right there. Let's paste that into here. Yay, white space. Okay, and then as I mentioned, this is going to be at localhost. It's on my local Mac Apache server, so I don't need a port, but it is at /ping. That's where my file is saved. So let's just save this, and let's see if it runs. Live demo is the last thing you should do on stage, folks. So here is the sample application downloaded from GitHub that should hopefully kick us right over to a ping one for customers login. Yay, it worked. So here, I think we better register for a user account. Oh, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do it through the admin console. That'll be cooler. I'm going to go create a new identity to log into this. I already have one here for myself, but let's add a new user. This one will be called IDV tester. Most of the stuff's not required, but this username is. Let's say IDV test. So we're going to save this user. It's enabled. We need to reset this password to something. I'll just pick something simple. Make sure I got that right. And we'll save it. So now this user is enabled, and we should, if all things work correctly, we should be able to log in. What is IDV test? Is that what I said? Let's look at that again. But that's it. We put in our password. And the first time that we sign on, it's going to ask us to create a new password. So I'll put in my old password. And then I'm going to come up with something that does meet our password requirements. Okay, and this could be set to password or passphrase, something more complicated and secure. You enjoying watching me type? There we go. So now I have logged into the sample, and it is able to identify this user. And it can just, this sample is meant to just show a developer how they would start to work with these things. So we kick back some user details to show that it's actually working, and then some of the token details which you would need. Okay, so that is how that works. And I think I now want to go back to here. Let's get back to the slides. Nice demo, Zach. I'm glad everything worked out as planned. OK, so now what we really want to do is we have this up and running demo application connecting to Ping 1 for customers backend. We want to connect it to our application that is sitting here desperately in need of this IAM stuff. So let's put these together. So we're going to reference some of the things that we were talking about before. This auth.js, that little library that gives you the functions to allow your user to go through easy functions to connect to our APIs. That needs to be included as part of the project. And then we have functions in there that you will be calling as a developer, things like sign in. So it has lots and lots and lots of code in here. But fortunately, we have taken care of all this for you, so you don't have to worry about it. All that you have to do is this. Just call sign in from your JavaScript with the options, which we'll look at in just a moment. Similarly, we have a sign off function. Same kind of thing. We just call it this way. Very easy. So let's go back to the code for a moment. So if we go back over to this guy, here's our app that we were just looking at, the PingPix app. It's pretty bare, but we just need to insert some of our code into here to fill this out and allow that connection to Ping 1 for customers to be made. So you don't have to watch me sit here and type forever, I have already done this. So it looks like this when we've dropped in some of the code. If we look at a diff real quick, we can see that here's what we have. On the left is our PingPix app, just raw with none of these stuff added to it. On the right is the new version with all of the new things added in. They're going to connect it to Ping 1 for customers. So you can see just up here, where I had this message before, you're not currently authenticated. Let's zoom this a little bit. We had this, you're not currently authenticated because we haven't built that yet. We're replacing it with our little sign-in button, our sign-on button, and our little sign-in block. We have some things about once you're logged in, let's stick out some user information and give them an option to click a button to sign off. Pretty easy to do. And then down here, we have the place where our auth.js is included, and then all of the little bits of JavaScript that need to be in line that you're probably going to want to edit, like this OIDC thing, just to connect things together. OK? So let's go And where's my guy? Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. So now the cool thing is that this app is running, I believe, over here. Let's try to it. Okay. So this was at localhost/appcool. And what I'm hoping we now see our PingPix site with an easy sign-on button just dropped right in there. So let's try to sign on with this user. Perfect. So I can go in as IDV. I can go in as IDV test, the user I just created, and the password. Let's see. That is not working for some reason. Don't know what that is about. Okay, well, so here's the deal. So I would sign in with this app, with this user, and there would unfortunately not be any photos there. But what I can do is I can sign in as myself, because I know, as we saw in the JSON before, I already have some photos in there. So I'm spitting out the same little user details in here, token details, just to show that it's actually working. And fortunately, further down the page, I actually have all of my photos available. So my favorite guy, Steve. Here's another one of my favorites, Andre. I don't know if you've met him. Here he is with Care Bears, because why not? Okay, so all of this works right here. I can easily sign right off, and I'm back out of there. Okay, so we have combined those two things together. Back to our presentation. Yay, our PingPix app plus the Ping identity code equals big thumbs up. So this works that way. Here's how you can get going on these types of things. Our website for the Ping One for Customers product is at developer.pingidentity.com. The really interesting things you're going to want to see are under the Docs and Samples link and under the Sample Apps link. This is where you go to get this sample code as well as many other sample apps. So we have a pretty big list there. These are different applications for allowing the authentication that we just saw using the Ping One for Customers default UI, but also codes to allow you to build a completely custom UI that matches your app exactly. For user registration, a nice form that allows you to collect the different fields that you want, not just the default fields that we've chosen, but also anything else that you need that's important to your app, including custom attributes that you might add to your user store. Most of our samples have a little tutorial video of some sort. These are 4 to 6 minutes long that walk you through the process of getting these things up and running very quickly. And it looks something like this with this friendly guy here who is happy to walk you through the code. We also have extensive API documentation for this. So on the same deal, if you go through this link right here, you are going to see our documentation that describes all of the different management functions and all the different authentication functions that are available in the platform, described in great detail. Here's a view of the user object, which we can see the different SCIM operators that are available. And if you scroll down, it shows many other things like the different API operations that you can do. You can connect to your list of users, get details of a user, and the different operations to modify those users. And the cool thing is we can actually run these things in Postman. So let's go have a look at that real quick. So actually, if I go out here to the, oh, sorry, guys. If I go out here to my documentation, and I go to exactly that, down here to our users, we see this data here. And we can actually click this to run in Postman. And it takes this Postman collection that we've prepared and pops it right out there so you can easily do these things. We will connect to that user store. So if I want to look into my users, and I'm just going to try to read all users. OK, so I have my application configured here to connect to my environment. I'm going to try to do this. Oh, but I don't have an authentication token right now. So we just need to go over to where we have made this very easy to retrieve in Ping One for Customers Admin Console. Under our, here's a little worker app that I made specifically for this. And I can grab an access token from here. And all I have to do is, well, the easy way is I can just pop it in right here. And now if I try this, I get all the details of my user here. So I see my user, and I see the other one that we created down here at the bottom, or IDV test. So this is available for all of our different operations that can happen. And so this is an important thing about PingOne for customers. It is truly an API-first platform. We will launch features just as the API before we even have it in our admin console in the GUI. Anything that you can do with any of the different objects that we have are completely accessible via APIs that you can call from your own code. Okay, so let's just take a break for some questions here before we finish up the last little bits that I have. Yes, in the front row.
I just have a question about the users.
Mm-hmm.
Is the directory part of PingOne, or do you, as the customer, have control or anything of the attributes, or is that all?
No, it's complete. You have complete control of the attributes. So it is very much like Ping Directory, which you're used to, but it's completely in the cloud. There's nothing that is on premises required to use any of the stuff that you've seen here today, and many more things.
You could feed it from the on-prem side.
Absolutely. We have lots of different connections to on-prem things. We have migration paths to sync data up and sync data both ways. So lots of connection to our on-prem products. That's one of the things that we think really sets this product apart. And it is completely customizable. So we have things like the custom user attributes. That could be a normal string. It could also be JSON, more complicated things like that. And multi-values coming soon. So completely customizable in users. Yes, any others? Oh, yes, right here.
I think I missed it, but did you show the authorization part? Like once the user logs in, how does it know what features you can view?
What things you can view? Okay, I can show you some of that. You know what? Actually, I would need to get the sample app. So here's the way that we can do some of those things. We have a sample application that is listed out there at the links that I will show you. And if you talk to me afterwards, I have a business card, and on the back I have a QR code that goes to those samples. So we have an application that's a resource owner. It's a Java Spring Boot application that describes very clearly how you set up like a custom scope for some of the resources that you might provide in your application. So not our stuff, but your stuff that your application is spitting out from your database as JSON endpoints, for example. And then you can see how to tie those users to those resources. Okay, we have one over there.
So is PingOne essentially a user store that have APIs that let you manage it, or is it much more than that?
Oh, I think it's much more than that. I mean, that's of course okay, so the question was, is it just a user store that lets you manage that, or is it more than that? I mean, I think it's much more than that because we have detailed authentication flows. The notifications that go out to users can be completely customized. We have MFA capabilities. So it's so much more about the authentication than it is just the users. But the user store is a big thing, and it's a really nice, easy thing to show how you use our APIs to connect to it. Is that helpful? Did I get the answer or not really? Okay, cool. Well, talk to me more after this, or talk to one of the experts that I have here on my team. We can answer in more detail. Yes? I'm sorry? Yes, so SAML as well as OIDC is available. And you can configure your apps for that. I can show you the way that is done. It's pretty straightforward. If I jump out of here. So all of the connections that you make to your applications, there are many different types you can make here. Okay, so I just use the single page app just because this is a nice quick OIDC demo. But really a lot of these are just presets to get you closer to the goal that you have in mind. So like a web app is a little bit more advanced in what we offer in the configuration from the start. So we can make it a OIDC or we can make it a SAML application. Okay, we name it right here. And then here we go. Here's your configuration that you're looking for, probably. Yeah, I think we could do that, right? Federate, we can use Ping Federate. We can do that. Yeah, for SAML, yes. We sure can. Yeah, I mean, the way that this integrates with our existing products, that's just one of the things that makes it really flexible. So if you have an installation of something like that, or if your users are in LDAP or they're in AD or Azure AD, we can absolutely work with that. Yes, I think I saw another one. Yes, in the back. Social login is coming. Yes, we don't have it in here. I can't show it to you right here today, but it's coming along, absolutely. As well as just custom configurations for other providers. We'll have many defaults to get you started quickly. Yes, all the way in the back.
If you wanted to add multi-factor authentication for a third party to this, do you use the SAML, the OpenID Connect for those things as well, or do you suggest the JavaScript?
We have lots of MFA built into the product that works with our samples with a little bit of configuration. I can show you a little bit about how that works. Let me cancel this guy. Okay, late breaking news. I'm told social login is coming out this week in our product. So watch for that. Okay, so let's just look at the authentication. This is authentication settings for this environment that I have. So this is a tenant and tenant system, so we can have lots of different environments. We can spin them up very quickly. This is for this environment. If I look in here at my, open my authentication policies, we configure for you by default a normal, just a single factor authentication, which is configure, we can turn off registration. Like maybe you don't want users to be able to register themselves. You would turn that off in here. But then like multi-factor, this is where it's really cool. Because we have the multiple steps here where you try to authenticate, and then we have these requirements, like if it's older than 8 hours since you've logged in, it'll kick over to the next one. And then we have the options that we have in here right now are email and SMS for our factors, but we do have device-based authentication working as well. We use your iPhone, we have an application. I'll show you a few screens in just a moment here. And that just integrates in there directly. Yes, and we had another question up the front. Yes?
So I assume PIN 1 is available in Europe and US?
It is indeed. Let me.
GDPR compliance, right?
Yes. Yes.
But from application integration perspective, how I'm going to port it? I have my application have to serve both customer base.
In different regions, you mean?
Yeah, different regions.
Well, so maybe you have a North America instance and a Europe instance, and you can do that all within the same console.
So I have divided my application into different regions.
Well, you can do that. So we have a feature coming where you would be able to have the administration that goes across. But if you want to separate your users that way for GDPR reasons, if it's like several countries in Europe, the data has to reside in Europe. So that's specifically why we have a Europe data center for that type of thing. Am I getting the question or not really?
I think so.
Kind of. And I will show you on a screen here how you would configure when you set up your trial account, how you would choose Europe instead of North America. Okay, so we'll see that in just a moment here. Yes?
What about mobile clients, specifically native mobile clients?
Native mobile, you mean using this with a native mobile app? Okay, yes, so we actually have an app configuration that supports that. And I will show you a little bit more about that in a moment too. So if we create an application here, we have native app is one of our options right here. And really, like this is a connection just like the others that is mostly just configured such that it's appropriate for that. You could create a single page app and reconfigure it through our admin console or through the APIs to suit the needs of a iOS native app. And I will tell you, though, at the end here, where you can go to see our native app with device authentication in action later this week. Yes?
So you have two-factor on there, and is there a way to go out if you want to do risk-based and then come back and challenge? Is that customizable? Like we don't want to always do two-factor. We want to decide whether we want to get stepped up on that.
Absolutely. So yeah, so what we have lots of configuration in there to say you don't need the second factor if it's within a certain IP range or something.
We can go cross something and do that, or is it just the conditions?
I think it's just the conditions, right? You would set up the. Oh, you could do it. You could do it in the front-end business logic as well. Okay, so yeah, so you could do that yourself. I guess that's a good point. So you could write those jump outs yourself.
Something else to talk to someone else.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what we provide here is really just the defaults. We tried to hit as many use cases as we could, and then make it as versatile as we can. But that's the cool thing, since everything is API first, you can break out and do whatever you would like there. And that includes things like one of our samples shows how to, when you're registering a user, based on their email address domain, it puts them automatically into a different population. And if it doesn't match one of those populations, it doesn't let them register at all. And that's just that's like an example of some business logic. So if you look on our sample applications, it is the one called custom registration. And it's the Spring Boot application. And you can see very clearly in there how that's done. I think I saw another one. No? Yes?
Does it provide any web session management capabilities? Like if you're already logged in, how do you know you have a web session or not? Does it provide any capabilities?
Well, it does know. How does it do that, nerds? Because does the web session carry over? Like you're logged in, and you leave and you come back, and it knows you're authenticated. Yeah, it totally does that. How are we doing that?
You can set the time. It's session. Web session.
Yeah, so it is a web session. And you can set the timeout. We can configure the timeout. It's not a cookie. It's in these like the session storage in the browser. You know what I mean? It's effectively a cookie, right?
And if you're doing single signing,
Yeah. Do what?
you're single signing back into the app. It's SSL back into the app.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure. So you're effectively single sign on coming back into the app because it sees that session data in your browser. To show you, I can show you in the console later if you want to see this. I can show you where it's stored exactly. Okay. Cool. Do we have another one? Yes. Oh, over here. Yes.
When you use a registration flow, do you have an option to capture the user consent and later on do consent management?
No, we don't. We don't have that in this normal flow here. Consent is coming. I don't think we have a date for that, but we're addressing that very seriously for sure. We don't have that right now though. Sure. Of course, but just like anything else, I keep saying this, this is API based, you could configure that yourself. You could write that yourself into your application if you wanted to. But we are building it into the default flows soon. Okay, yes?
As an admin, do I have an option to allow the user to log in either with email or phone number or a frequent flyer number from example?
So they log in with, it doesn't have to be email. It could be their username, whatever you want it to be. And then you can do, you can have them kick off to do like a one-time password for like a passwordless flow. You can do that. Or you can use the mobile app that we'll be demoing in a later session. That could be another thing. So it's your username, not a password. Use the device. Okay? Any more? Okay, let's move on. Let's wrap up these little bits here then. And if anybody thinks of another question, just interrupt. It's no problem. Jump right in. Okay, so there's the end of our questions. Let's move on. I scream, you scream, we all scream for free trials. Sorry, ice cream. Not ice cream today. But free trials, so that's what's great about this. You can all get a free trial and have access to all of the features that I've seen here and much more. So the way that you do that is, let's jump out of my slides again. And jump over here, check this out. All you have to do is go back to our developer.pingidentity.com. And if our internet holds out, we can click on our free trial button. Okay, and all I have to do is say, test demo. And then this is what I wanted to show here. So the country, I'm going to go ahead and select United States, select Texas, which is great. Now there we go. Company name is TestCo. And then my email would be, I'll just do this. And I'll use that password, sure. No, I'm picking a different one. And then here's where you can select your region. Let me zoom this in. So your data center, you could be in North America or Europe for this trial that we're setting up here. You just click sign on. And so what has happened here is an email has just gone off to that email address. All you have to do is click the verify link, and then right there in that email, it has your unique link to get into your admin console. So this is live now. I mean, this is ready to go. We could absolutely develop an application on this trial account right now. Okay, and this offers all of the features that we offer. Okay. Okay, and this is where I was showing some screenshots. Free trial, yay. Okay, now let me show off something cool. This is something that I was just talking about where we have worked on MFA through an iPhone app, which we will be showing off a little bit later. We have a demo site called Soldario Travel, which is the fake travel site that we use for lots of our testing of our APIs and things. You can just create an account on there, and you can elect to use the Soldario iOS app to authenticate against this thing. So this application comes up and it just opens up the camera just like anything you would expect, reads a QR code and takes that pairing key and sends it on over to the system so that you are then paired with the Soldario website in order to log in. Okay, and then just like anything else, just like creating a user through user registration form, this is created directly in your Ping One for Customers admin console, which you can go in and see all the attributes of that user to see how it works. And then you can see right here, under our methods and devices, my iPhone was used to create a multi-factor authentication different factor for using on this account. We could also add to this an SMS second factor. We could add an email second factor to this one. And then when you do this, it just pops up a push notification to your app, and you're able to click and you're able to log in. You do not need Ping ID for this in order to work. We have an SDK coming out specifically that gives you essentially Ping ID technology that you're used to, but with Ping One for Customers compatibility. So that should be in July. And then you'll be able to drop this into your iOS app. And with just a few simple functions, you can connect to the APIs through these different methods that we've created here. Like this one right here. So the package that gets added is just called Ping One. That's the namespace for it. And we have just simple functions like this. Like here's how you pair the device. The application does whatever you want it to do, whatever your interface is to get to that point. Collect the QR code, enter the code manually, whatever you want to do. Maybe it comes through an email, which kicks off to the mobile app to then do the pairing. But really, that pairing code as a string just gets sent through this method and goes off to our servers, connects to your Ping One for Customers application instance, and it then pairs that device to that user. Okay, cool. Any other questions about that one? You're going to have a great opportunity to see this application in action later this week on Thursday. Ishan Kumar, our Director of Product Management on the Ping One for Customers product, has the session at Customer IAM Solutions that both developers and IT love, talking about this same product that I've shown you how you do this, but this is more the why this is created, why you would want this, and why you would want to use this for your customers. So Thursday, 3:10 to 3:35 in Georgetown. Okay. We good? Other questions here? No? Oh, yeah, one more.
So on the screen you show North America and Europe as two regions. Is that just for the demo purposes or you have more?
No, we just have two now. That's what we have right now in production. But more are coming. Yeah. More coming this year, yes. Mm-hmm. Yep, Asia Pacific this year. So you'll be able to choose any of those. Yes? Oh, he was asking about the regions, the different regions that are available. Is this just for the demo that we have and for the trial accounts that we have Europe and North America? No, those are our only two production regions right now. But this year we do have APAC coming as well. Yes? How do we cover Russia and China? What's our strategy there? Not at the moment. Not at the moment. There's our official answer. Okay. Any others? No? Okay, well, we're going to wrap up early, I think, here. I just want to cover a few of the things, just to remind you of these, what it is that Ping 1 for Customers allows you to provide to your customers, which is what you really care about. So the reliability, right, the track record and the experience that we have as Ping Identity, that comes as part of this product. You are getting that as a gift to give to your customers. Privacy, we're all concerned. GDPR was mentioned. Absolutely, it's a huge concern of ours. We want to make sure that any of the stuff that comes into our systems is absolutely private, and you want that for your customers as well. So you get that here, okay? And we want to protect your stuff. We want to protect your customers' stuff. And then the best part about this is when you work with us, you don't have to worry about this. You're not doing this. You're trusting us to handle this, and this is precisely the type of thing that we know how to do. So I had this is the protection icon that I found, but I think we can all agree that this is a far better icon for protection at this point. Okay. Okay. So that is the end of my talk. Here's my contact information. I'd love to talk to any of you either after this or anytime this week, and help you get signed up for your trial, show you a live demo of our iOS app doing MFA in real time. And please connect to me here or on LinkedIn. Okay, we might as well just show Andre and the Care Bears one more time. And the elephant because it's cute. Okay, we ended quite a bit early. Thanks, guys.